Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Now y'all are going to be doing this and this because I do not sit still and I'm not getting on top of the stage. So we'll go with that. Thank you for having me out here this afternoon, and more so my hat's off to you as administrators and people that make decisions to listen to folks like Fabian and I. It's stuff that we've lived, things that we've educated ourselves on and have been educated on. And with saying that, I strongly believe when I teach, I often get taught, regardless of what my target audience is, who's in my audience, and whatever they have to say. I know a lot, or a little about a lot, should I say, when it comes to gangs and other subject matter in relations to law enforcement, criminal justice. I've been with the Sheriff's Office, January will be 25 years. For the last 9 months, I've been assigned to an undercover position in auto theft, meaning that I got rid of the uniform except for maybe 2 or 3 times a year until I have to do some public announcements and some other things for the media. Then I'll get into uniform and shake down. But prior to that, I was assigned to a crime prevention unit, and my duties there were primarily gang awareness, gang education, training, and awareness for the general public and law enforcement. I hold a lot of different accreditations and stuff that allows me to be here today and not get paid very much by my department. But that's okay. I'll do 5 more years and we'll see what happens. I do have a disclaimer. I had to put this in a number of years ago simply because while conducting this presentation for another Harris County entity, some people snickered, or some people went, ugh, or they were surprised. This is a gang subculture. This is not what I'm going to be or what these people choose to be from 8 to 5. This is every day of their life that they've chosen. This is a following. This is a religion to them to a certain degree. It's actual footage. It's not meant to be offensive or demeaning to anybody in the room. It is actual footage. Most of the pictures and video in this presentation I've taken myself, so I can explain it. I know what's fixing to come up. I can tell you there's going to be a little vulgarity, there's going to be a little violence. Okay? It is a representation of the gang lifestyle. Not of the Harris County Sheriff's Department, not of mine. It is simply what it is. Our objective is to train as many people and give them as much insight and knowledge, because knowledge is power, regardless of however you want to put, whatever subject matter you want to put that in front of. The more you know, the more you can do about it and understand it. And one thing about gangs is that you have to keep an open mind. The people that are involved in gangs, whether young or old, are human beings. And I treat them as such. And in my perspective in law enforcement, I treat them the way I want to be treated until it's time to go to a different level. Okay, because I have those options, and I utilize to start at the bottom of the ladder. 10 or 12, maybe 15 years ago, we in law enforcement would have never, ever started to share this information with civilians. Why do you think that? Oh, I engage my audience as well, so I ask a lot of questions. What is it? Fear? Okay. Yes, sir.
We need to know what to look for on the side.
Well, before then, 15 years ago, why did y'all need to know? It wasn't affecting y'all. Not to the degree that it is right now. Especially when I was in school a while back. It wasn't, we didn't hear that thing. That wasn't happening in my school. Okay? It wasn't happening a whole lot. But now it's affecting everybody, regardless of what kind of profession you're in, where you go to church, where you go to school, where you go to dine, where you take your clothes to be dry cleaned, who valets your car. Okay, this is affecting everybody in this room to some degree. So now you need to know, why is this graffiti in the front of my neighborhood? What does it mean? Is it all gang related? You know that there's a difference between graffiti, gang graffiti, and tag graffiti. Some of it's art. Pretty cool stuff. Some of the things we're going to talk about now this particular presentation, one or two of you in this room may have caught already in your profession. We're not going to talk about everything up on this screen today. We just don't have the time, unless you got about 16 hours. Because this class is now 2 days long at our academy, where I teach it on a regular basis. I try to update it as much as possible. TCOL, our governing body for law enforcement education, states that I cannot remove any of the core products, but I can add to it. So I've done that over the last 7 or 8 years. We're going to talk about what Texas Penal Code says, what the state says, how we can operate enforcing gangs and the things that they do. Initiations, why they're joining. And I really want to know why you think they're joining when we get to that part of the presentation. Some warning signs that a child, whether it's your child, your student, people in your school, next door neighbors, your kids, nieces or nephews, grandchildren, may be involved in this lifestyle. Some related tattoos. Cartel information, we're going to skip over that part. That's really not relative to your being here, and that's going a little bit higher into the criminal justice area. Tips that may deter. What you can do as a community to help deter these things. And some of the characteristics of gang and tag or graffiti we'll talk about. Types of gangs. OMGs we're not going to talk about. That's 6 hours right there by itself, so we're not even going to that. But we are going to touch on dongos and dongo blast groups, or we call them Houstons, okay, better known on the streets. We're going to define gangs, members, associates, related crimes, involved incidents, dongo blast groups. Now, Paco, besides being a Spanish surname, came to me about 4.5 years ago at the Houston Hispanic Forum. This particular event is held at the George R. Brown. It entails about 10,000 kids between the ages of 16, 18, up to 22, 23 years old, with a host of companies such as Shell, U.S. Armed Forces, all your petroleum, your natural oil, your people looking for candidates, schools and colleges, places of higher education to recruit these youngsters into their areas, into their fields. We have a booth with the Sheriff's Department. They'll give us a booth. We set up all our displays and wares. This is the first year I had several, well, this thing goes about 50 foot. This isn't all of the display I had set up. And I had it a little bit too close for the public to touch. And they thought they could take it. So we fixed that, but nonetheless I had 50 feet of this stuff displayed out. And of course, like-minded people started to gather. And this group of young Hispanic males walked up to some of the posters and started doing this stuff with their hands. So I approached them as I would approach anybody. I said, listen, dude, now when I talk to folks who are gang members, I use their language. I get down on their level and just talk to them. The words they understand. Not like, young man, I understand you're doing things with your hands. Can I see what you're doing? And will you explain them to me in great detail? Psst, that ain't gonna happen. So, yo, dude, check it out. I just want to feel your hands, voice, nothing like that. I just want to know I want you to explain. I want to learn. No, we can't do that. But we go get Paco. Paco will show you. Okay. Well, I got thousands of other people to contend with. 2.5 hours later, I forgot all about Paco until this young Blanquito, which is in Spanish, a young Hispanic skinny fella, comes up to me, dressed out in blue, shaved head. This was Paco. They said, well, here we go, here's Paco. Served him up on a plate. He'll explain to you. So I told him, listen, this is what I want to do. I'm going to pull you back over here. You don't mind doing this in front of your homies, right? No, I'll do what you want. So this is very rare that a person, a gang member, will do a live interview in front of his peers. Not only his peers, but hundreds of other people in his booth. So I pulled him 20 feet away, took him to the back wall. As you'll see now, this is unedited video. There's a little bit of language in it, nothing horribly bad, but again, it's me interviewing him on his level. I want you to pay attention to what Paco is wearing. Not only his shirt, his undershirt, what he's wearing around his neck, which way his belt hangs to, because all this matters. And towards the end, what he starts doing with his shirt. Okay, these things matter in this lifestyle, in this subculture. The video, I got a lot of background noise, a lot of people talking, and you'll hear it. He met his parents, how he met his parents, who he was living with, how his brother died, the reason he's in the game is all explained. Not in great detail, but enough. Okay, so this is Paco.
You learning?
Yeah, I'm learning.
Why are you down with it?
I'm down for the hood, man.
It's your hood?
Yeah.
Protection?
Yeah. Family, man.
Family? Who's involved in it?
People.
Your people?
Yeah.
People being your family, blood family?
Yeah, my blood family. People from the hood, we all grew up with.
People that you grew up with in the hood? What hood you stay in?
Me, Deuce Ward.
Deuce Ward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second Ward.
Second Ward?
Yeah.
You remember what Second Ward Crip Cartel? Second Ward Crips?
Second Ward, Serenios.
Serenios. Second Ward Serenios. Locos. Serenios Locos? Okay. Cool. What else you want to show me, man?
That's about it.
You throw down the blue?
Yeah.
Throw down the blue? Let me see you see your belt, man. Got your blue, right? Got your blue. Shit. You're popping that, right? You down with it all. How old are you, man? You're 16. Alright, man.
I've been in this shit for 3 years.
For 3 years? That's because all your homies are in it.
I just hung out with the wrong people, man. They got me shit in my head.
If you know they got shit in your head, you know that shit ain't right, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to notice now. I'm trying to open my eyes.
Trying to get your mind and your eyes open, Cat. Did you say at the same time you're trying to learn all you can learn?
Yeah, trying to get out of that shit, but it's hard. It's not easy.
Because they got you in it, right?
They killed my brother, bro.
They killed your brother.
Yeah, back in the day.
What do you mean they killed your brother?
They killed my brother like.
Bravo gang?
Yeah. That happened like a long time ago. I was young.
How old are you?
Me? 16.
16.
Yeah, but that happened like long way back.
How many years?
How many years ago? When I was 10.
When you were 10?
6 years ago.
Really? They shooting?
He went to a wrong spot. He was selling.
He was selling?
Yeah, he went to a wrong spot and everything.
He went on. Oh shit.
He like went to a wrong hood. I never was done.
Done. Missing?
Yeah.
Every day.
It was hard.
Was he down with this gang too?
Yeah, he was like my father. I never had my parents. I met my parents till I was 10 after he died.
You met your parents after he died?
Yeah, after he died. That's because I lived with him. I lived with my aunt. But ever since that happened, they got scared, so they took me back over here. Right now I live in the Woodlands. I just moved there. And we're taking care of me right there.
Who's taking care of you?
My parents.
Your real parents are.
I used to live with my aunt.
Are they down with this stuff?
And my parents?
No, they ain't feeling it, right?
No, I'm trying to listen to them, you know? I'm trying to get my head up in the game, you know? Trying to get my education on.
You know, they're trying to make you right, man. They're trying to make you a good production or a good producer. You know, to be a good citizen. You been on paper yet?
Me?
You ain't been locked up? You ain't got no tats? No block us?
I don't like it. I'm not into that shit. I'll be down doing something. I ain't gotta get that. No thing taxes my nuts. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, man. I appreciate your help, bro. All right.
What did he have around his neck?
Cross.
Rosary.
Yeah.
Okay. What color was the rosary?
Blue.
Blue. It matched the shirt
Blue.
and his belt. Probably his shoelaces too. Which way was his belt hanging to?
Right.
To the right. That means something, and Paco's very confused. Is he not?
Yes.
He's not. He's very confused. Or maybe he just did it in the mirror and did it backwards. Heck, I don't know. But it all means something. The way he was throwing his hands, starting to get a little restless. I asked him how old he was 3 times, see if he's going to trip up and tell me and lie to me. So once he lies to me once, I know he's lying to me about everything. I'm not going to believe him. But still, it's fun to interview this guy. Met his parents when he was 11, 10 years old. His older brother got shot in the head after, off camera. Brother was slinging dope on the wrong side of the tracks in Juice WRLD and got popped in the head. And I found him on the side of the tracks. That's when he met his parents. Anybody live in the Woodlands? Could be your neighbor, I don't know. Just saying, you never know. We're going to define these things here. We're going to see what the Texas Penal Code says. 3 or more of these things, of the following characteristics, they have to exhibit it individually or in a group. That could include negative behavior, criminal activity. Something we'll always come back to, ladies and gentlemen, always, is a shared sign, a symbol, a manner of dress, color. Okay? Whether that shared sign is going to be throwing it up, ink, like us, something to identify themselves as a group. You know, back in the day when I was growing up, it was about territory, about your block, right? That's about it. Wasn't much. It's come full circle back to that. Because trying to circumvent the law and get around it, they're calling themselves cliques now. And they'll throw the name of the neighborhood in front of it, or the name of the area that they represent in front of it, followed up with clique. Okay, they're not a gang. Well, you're doing the same thing that gang members do. Guess what? You're a gang. All right? You can call it what you want. Now, House Bill, Senate says a few things on what we in law enforcement, probation, can classify and determine what is a gang member and document them as such. The first 2 can stand alone on their own, which is judicial finding and self-admission in court. Okay, yeah, I'm down. This is who I represent. A lot of these guys and girls, according to their own bylaws, rules and regulations, and oaths that they took, have to admit that they are gang members. They cannot denounce that they're not, if they do so belong to one. Now, numbers 3 through 10, non-judicial finding, self-admission, ID by a reliable informant or source. Okay? All these will also help us document a gang member legally. We can put them on the green card or whatever color it is now and put them in the system. Okay? Doesn't mean that they committed a crime, but they're documented as a gang member. Because if they've done something under Snoopy and we further our investigation, maybe somebody on the street is named Snoopy and they committed a crime or they got fingerprints somewhere, it just leads on, it's a better investigation. If it's a membership, as I stated, reliable informant or source. Who is a reliable informant or source? Are you a reliable informant or source? Oh, you betcha. You know, if your staff members see the same group of kids hanging out at the same corner, wearing the same clothes, playing itsy bitsy spiders, something's wrong. And they're doing it every Tuesday. Okay? Something's wrong. There's some questions that need to be answered or asked there. Hanging out on a regular basis. Contacts with us in the presence of known gang members. Again, referring back to them hand signs, colors, manners of dress, or identifiable marks. And here's the biggie. Here's the one that helps us out a lot, helps POs out a lot, probation officers, and even you. You know, I had the chance to educate and train some of the folks over at Spring High School. I get ready from Spring? Where did that? After they had their unfortunate stabbing last year of that young man. Of course, you know, after the fact, I bring everybody in, and it turns out, being a graduate of Spring High School, or Westfield High School in '82, that one of my classmates since early years happened to be principal now of that school. And as we got to talking, we figured this out, and it laid the groundwork for what needed to be done for the students, for the parents, and for the staff. So going in and training every staff member in that school for 2 different days with a full auditorium. I didn't think that happened in the teacher said. But the thing that they were doing already, what Donna was doing already was, and they have somebody there that can monitor their Facebook, that can monitor their instant messaging. Whatever social media site that they had active, they were monitoring it. They knew what was going to happen in that school or what could happen at another location by just being online and seeing what's going on with their kids. And it's a great tool for them because these guys want to put it out there. Just like the bullying, you know, back in the day, it's just 1 or 2, you know, there's some folks in here my age, but back in that day, we didn't have all this stuff, right? You just, that was it. And maybe 10 people found out by the end of the school. Man, you do this right here. How many people want to find out real quick? Hundreds, thousands. Whoever's following you. Okay, and then word of mouth. That's where we're making our cases. That's where you can get your information. If you have a suspicion, look them up on Facebook, on whatever other instant message or social media-based site that's out there. They're putting it out there. And for probation officers, they know it. Screen capture it. If the judge says Billy Bob Jumpbag is not supposed to be hanging out with Johnny Little Wise on Sunday afternoons, and he's doing it because he's a known gang member, that's a violation of the probation. The judge's direct orders. Screen capture, put it in a file, and send it to the clerk. Look what little Johnny's doing. Okay? But they use it on you. They'll use it on me. Why can't you just apply the same rules back to them? There's nothing wrong with it. It's keeping up with the times. Corresponds, writes, receives, in possession of. Doodles on their notebook, doodles on their backpack, doodles on their shoes. It's weird, strange objects. Pitchforks up, down. Number 13, sir, or Daniel. Written down on a piece of paper, on a book. What does it mean? What does that mean? Oh, that's nothing, miss. Oh, that's nothing, sir. No, really, I know what sir is. That's south. Okay, so tell them, once you let them know that, hey, I understand some of this stuff, and y'all have that reference CD, right, that was in y'all's pack, that has, y'all getting a twofer today because this program, I told you, is almost 16 hours long. Y'all are getting the complete PowerPoint presentation in PDF format. Videos don't play, but all the information that you're getting here today and more is in there for your reference, along with every poster, resource from the government on down is in there. Bulletins, the like. I suggest that when you get a chance, look at it, okay, and refer back to it. Have a past criminal record. Or the Department of Corrections says that they've been a part of a security threat record. A security threat record for prison is somebody who does not play well with others, and they're locked up 23 out of 24. Get to come out for 1 hour a day and take care of their business. Okay? This is all what the state says. Associate someone, it doesn't meet the criteria, but they're hanging out, they're doing things with the gang, they're giving them rides, maybe even affording them some financial help. Okay? Promoting the activity of the gang. In other words, I had known a few to do this. Eventually crossed over that line and got in it. Okay? They just tested the waters for a while. Gang-related crime for the furtherance of the gang's benefit. Now, a prime example of this, when I speak of people in this presentation, I have explicit permission to do so. Whether they're my partners, their sons, my sons, anybody. Because I believe that bringing up life experiences like I caught when Fabian was doing throughout his presentation, it matters. Because we've lived it, we know it, it's factual. And we know how to get above it and deal with it. Further into the gang's benefit, one of my partner's sons, stepson, well actually both of them, but we're talking about stepson right now, known him since he was this high. He's now about this high, 24 years old. Got ink from his toes to his head, front and back, covered, most of it 5 deuce. But knowing this kid growing up, he wasn't a thief. He was a scholar. He was smart. This little dude was impressive. Didn't see him all the time because his mother kept him in Florida where she has her business. They own business here, they own business in Florida, aside from being a police officer. As he started getting older, he was being influenced. They didn't know by who. They didn't even know that the oldest son was involved. Him in his own right was a 2-time collegiate, not collegiate, but in high school, running back for Nimitz High School. The coaches remember this kid. He had 2 full-ride scholarships to go play football and get paid for it. The education be paid for. Until they found out that he was involved in a gang. And not only that, but involved in a armed robbery, aggravated armed robbery, where they took his car and left him at the scene. The car that his parents bought him. Well, the stepbrother, seeing all this growing up, had this influence on him, instilled into him, and decided to follow in those footsteps. He graduated school at 16 in Florida, came here, and found like-minded people to hang out with full time. They took him up north to College Station, put him in school there, found more like-minded people who were getting educated. So they brought him back. He has robbed my partner and his wife blind of jewelry, of cash on hand for their employees, for their businesses. I'm not talking hundreds of dollars, I'm talking thousands of dollars over the years. I don't know how my partner stated all this stress, but he's doing it. Continues to be there. His wife leaves out of town. He goes, baby, come, baby, my Rolex is on the windowsill. Go put it in the safe for me. Baby, ain't no Rolex here. No, it's on the window. No, it's not. I'm telling you, I'm looking right now. It's not here. Y'all know what happened? It was time for the furtherance of the gang. See, I know this kid. He was not a violent person, or wasn't. Is now. He didn't want to hurt nobody. But it was time for him to do something for the gang's benefit. Whether it's boost a car, they don't care. We need money, we need finances, we need them now. We don't care what you do to do it, but just do it. So rather than go and risk getting shot, beat up, or something awful happening to him by committing a crime against another person, he committed it against his own parents. Little Rolex. That's $600. That was a $20,000 watch. $600. That'll help further the game, don't you think? For at least a weekend. And this kept going on for years. This problem has evolved to a different situation now, but not any better. Gang involved incident. Well, pretty simple. Participating in no gang members. 3+, criminal street gang. We have to say that they're 3+. They have to have an identifiable leader. Somebody saying, hey, I call the shots here. I'm the one. I'm the lieutenant. Initiations. What are some initiations that you know of or that you think you know of? Yes, sir.
Blessing.
Getting blessed in.
Not really bad. Pretty good.
Okay, there's no religion involved. Anybody else? Jumped in. They just get in there and jump on you a little bit, or what's the deal? Beat you up, clicked in, jumped in. What else? What? I normally have prizes. I don't have prizes today. Because I'm off duty right now and I can't give prizes away that don't belong to me. Get sexed in. So females have a choice, right? What else?
Commit a crime.
Commit a crime. Any crime. Whether it's burglarization of a home, motor vehicle, assault, whatever. As long as it's a good crime and you're willing to fake the heat for it. Okay? They want to see if you're able to fake the consequences for your actions. Because they know it's against the law. They know it's against the rules. They want to see if you're able to fake the heat. Do the time. Practice makes perfect. Oh. All right. That second one was kind of, yeah, think about that for a minute too, didn't you? I don't know if I want some of that action or not. But in reality, and I'm saying this isn't real because it is, but in reality, if a person balls up to protect themselves, because if somebody pops you on your pumpkin head, it's going to hurt, right? So your first reaction is, I don't want no more of that. You're going to protect yourself, right? Whether they kick in the ribs, kick in wherever. It's going to hurt, so you want to protect. Your body clenches up and stiffens up. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to roll up and protect yourself. Nor are you supposed to fight back. Now, if you fight back and take them out, then I guess you're going to do something about it. But they're not supposed to do that, and you'll get a do-over for that. Okay? So, not saying you didn't get a do-over, but that's just an example of getting clicked in it. This is thousands of this stuff chock full on the internet. Okay? You want to entertain yourself with this stuff. Jumped in or clicked in. Multiple members, selected members, male or female, depending on what type of gang it is, if it's a female gang or if it's a co-ed gang, what I call a co-ed gang, male and female. They can last anywhere from a few seconds, like the first one what we've seen here, to a minute, 2 minutes, whatever their rules and regulations state that it will last. The longest one I've seen for training purposes, seen by the DEA and the FBI, was 13 minutes long. That's not a jump in or a click in, that's murder. Because that's what was done. They killed him and found out he was a snitch. And they videotaped it. Of course, we had other informants in there, but they killed him for talking. They can be vicious beatings. About 6 years ago, one of my partners is now retired, country fellow, worked over at Houston Northwest Medical Center. He says, Bud, Everything started with Bud. He goes, I think we got a problem over here. I said, what's going on, Gardner? He goes, Bud, I got all these young Latino guys, they coming in here, and they all beat to hell. I said, what happened, Gardner? He goes, man, they got bruises, cuts, cracked ribs, and broken arms and wrists. He goes, but they don't want to file no report. They just want to get fixed up, stitched up, get a Band-Aid, get some dope, and get on out the road. He goes, then a lot of them don't speak English. So literally being my backyard, I was raised in that property where the hospital sits, and my mom's house still sits next to it. I started talking and asking questions to people in the area. It turns out that MS-13 was recruiting heavily at the time, and they were getting a lot of recruits, okay, via that emergency room. So he's seen it firsthand, born into it. Parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, grandpas, grandmas, parents that are in it. Okay, they have got so much exposure to the game that they're expected to do it, and that's all they know. Okay, they're, you know, when we look at it, an analogy, we're not trained to do anything when we're born. We know how to suckle. That's it. As infants. We don't know how to hate. We don't know how to love. We're taught that. We learn that. Okay? And it's the same thing here. They learn how to do these things within the game. Blessed in, as this young man stated here. It has nothing to do with religion. Again, it's a lot of family involvement. These kids are expected to. They are even given the knowledge, the prayers, the creeds, the rules, the regulations, all the knowledge, what the symbols mean, written, hand, word, to memorize it and teach it to others as they come in. Okay? They're trusted with this information. Sexed in, as the young lady stated, ladies have a choice. Now, if you want to join my all-male gang, and you said, I don't want none of that sexting stuff, I want to take it like a dude. Do you think that she would get more recognition and status and maybe even some rank within my structure if she took it like a dude? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You'd get many props. Okay? They would respect you, have more respect for you. The other way, you're a pass around, you're a piece of meat, and that's what you're expected to do. Okay? And disrespected. As you stated, sir, commit a crime, any crime. Show us that you're willing to do the time for the crime. Okay? I want to know. We want to see how far you're down with this set, if you're really true. Now, did y'all notice, as quick as this video was, what was interesting about it besides somebody getting gunned down? One of the shooters, the shooter in the back seat, his gun jammed. Just for half a second, does this. It jammed. The slide stuck open. It didn't eject the shell. Why are they joining? They want to belong. Number one answer in Family Feud. Why? Why else? Protection. Protection from who? From bullies. Everybody. Protection from everybody. They'd rather be behind. They think, you know what? They think it's safer to be behind the gun than in front of the gun. Right? Wow. What else? What are some more reasons that they're joining? Respect. Who said that? From who? From their peers. Maybe from adults. Through fear or intimidation, they want respect. You know what's funny? The kids these days expect a lot to be given to them. Now, I say given is a big word. Okay? Respect, they think they should be given. Okay? You know, we as adults, we as human beings, not just adults, human beings, we judge. We stereotype, don't we? Everybody should be saying, including me. I judge, I stereotype. I kind of kicked it to the curb as much as possible for a lot of reasons. You know, people say in this profession, in my profession, that we become hardened, we become callous, distant, cold-natured. Okay, you got cut, okay. You got beat up, okay. I've heard your story. Now, what's your story? Okay, this is something day in and day out. This is mundane stuff. Okay? But they're joining for reasons of everything that you stated. But we as adults, we judge, we stereotype. We do it for different reasons, sometimes unknown. The reasons are unknown to us. But would you agree that maybe we judge or stereotype to make us feel better about ourselves? Now we figured out what little Johnny, why he turned out to be a turd. Now we know why little Susie is all messed up and has emotions and confused and needs to see a psychologist, who's in the counselor's office all the time. Now we know because mama's a crackhead, daddy's dead, she's raised by Annie, or grandma. Whew. Man, I feel better about that. Go have my margarita on Friday. Because I done justified all that. I feel better now that I know because I've done judged and stereotyped. If I was a different person in here with a long beard and tattoos and a scar on my face, would you think different of me? Well, certainly you would. Who in here has tattoos beside myself? Come on. All right. Have you ever been judged for your tattoos? Who's been judged? Yeah. Let me tell you my judgment story. I got mine 2 weeks after my older brother committed suicide, 2 days before my 40th birthday party. For a reason. All our ink means something. For whatever reason, it means something to you, or you wouldn't have it. Now, if you got drunk and did it on a dare and you woke up, that's your business. Right? I'm not here to judge your stereotype. That's your business. But I did mine for my reasons. You did yours for your reasons. But see, I was the first one to get something like that in my family. One of 3 brothers, 3 sons. I'm the only one left now. Everybody's gone in my family. Gone overseas. But that day was a day of reckoning when I had to go tell my mama. My mama was old school. And I called my stepfather out first. I said, Wayne, come on out here. I need to talk to you. And he's already grinning. He knows something's wrong. I'm a 40-year-old man afraid to tell my mama. He goes, what'd you do? I said, I didn't do nothing. Well, I did something. But here's what I got to tell y'all. But I'm going to tell you first so I can know how to figure out how to tell Mom. He says, you got a what? Where's it at? I rolled up my sleeve and I showed it to him. Look like nothing to that. He goes, this will be fun. So I walked in that warm summer afternoon and I sat down in my mom's little living room and I said, Mom, I got something to tell you. I don't want you to judge me. I don't want you to stereotype me. I'm still your son. I'm still the man that I am. I still have the kids that I have. It's just a part of me. So she starts doing the Mexican Fred Sanford. Adios, mío. Adios, mío. No. I said, Mom, chill out. It's not like that. She goes, I got to ask you a question. I said, what is it, Mom? You're not gay, are you? Mom, come on. I got girlfriends now. Come on. No, I was single then. I said, no, I'm not. He goes, okay, what is it? Like, jumped out of the way. I said, I got a tattoo. No, you didn't. And of course, now she turns around and looks at my stepfather and goes, you son of a, you knew about this, didn't you? She just told me outside. And he's laughing and grinning. So she goes, show me. So I rolled up my sleeve and I showed her. I goes, you're just like your dope dealing cousins. Really? Come on, man. No, so to end the conversation is, well, you just got to keep your sleeves rolled down and no tank tops when you're around family. Okay, I'll appease you and we'll get on with life. We judge, we stereotype. Lack of parental involvement. That's one of our things that make us feel better. I know why. Now I know why. No parents, man. You don't have no role model, no male figure there. That's why. Would y'all agree with that? Yeah, pretty typical stereotype, right? We've seen it. Maybe even have lived it. I got Raul's name up there. I think one person in this room has met Raul. Raul came into my life about, Ike was what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? Like most people in Texas and the United States and southern United States got our house sliced and diced by Ike. Roof came off, trees came through, water came in. Right? No electricity, generators, gallons of gas sitting next to the generator. It was awful. It was no different for our household for 18 weeks. So the roof come off the back part of the house to what's now the media room, and started with slab. I said, you know what? I've been spoiled to the niceties of life in my profession. I like the speakers in the ceilings. I like the speakers in the walls. I like to be able to plug in whatever I want, wherever I want in my room. I want all that. But my insurance company said, you didn't have all that. We ain't going to pay for it either. I said, all right, I can go around you. I know how to fix that. Because we all have hookups, right? Right? I got hookups. I get some tires wholesale. I get my oil changes all done. Half price in my son's shop. I got hookups. I didn't have no hookups for electrical work. But my brother-in-law did. He goes, brother-in-law, I got this guy, he's nice and fine and insured. He comes to my shop, does all my work in my shop. But you got to pay him cash. So, okay, I can do that. So the next day, this young Hispanic male, clean cut, shaved head, no ink, well-spoken, business cards, all the stuff, stickers and stuff on the side of his van. Nice and fine and insured, electrician. I said, I want all the niceties that you have to offer. I told him that I wanted to line it out. We were already in the framing stage. And he says, I can do all that. I said, how much? He goes, normally it would be about a $5,000 job. I said, okay, now give me my price. He says, I'll do it for $800 cash in 2 days by myself. I didn't ask him why, because my brother-in-law gave him a lot of business. And he says, just pay me cash, you buy all the parts. I can do that. So we did. In 2 days, we have a business at the house. My wife operates, and he goes, had one conversation with my wife. I see your husband works in the sheriff's department. What does he do? Then I was driving a marked unit in uniform. He goes, well, he's a public speaker and presenter, but most of us works on gangs. That was it. No response, no carry on. I came home from work the second day, got somebody over there inspected, paid him his 8 Benjamins. And on that last Benjamin, he says, I need to ask you a question. I said, yes, sir. He goes, your wife tells me that you do gang work. I said, yes, sir. He says with a solemn face, he goes, I'm a former gang member. I said, a little air stick up back here. Man, this cat been in my house for days. knows everything. He did all the work, man. So, he goes, I said, really? He goes, I said, how former are you? How long ago did you retire from this lifestyle? He goes, well, I'm 28 years old now. I started banging. How old are you before we get into the 7th grade? 13? He quit school before he got into the 8th grade. He started banging full time in that summer between 7th and 8th. He decided to open up that door, the dark side, and go in, and didn't look back. When I met Raul, he was expecting his 5th baby girl. And see, immediately, I pulled down the tailgate of my truck, and about 4 or 5 hours later, and some adult beverages consumed, I got his story. Because that's invaluable as an officer, as a human being, as an instructor, to get firsthand information like this openly without having to ask for it. The reason he joined, because he was getting his butt handed to him every day by a local blood set. Sneakers, shoes, clothes, money, or just a good old butt whooping, just because. And he was a little bitty thing. He's not that big a fellow. So he started his own blood set, a crip set, in 2nd Ward. And see, we study, judge, and stereotype, as I stated before, and all these reasons why we say to make us feel better, to allow us to live our lives more comfortably. Raul's parents are both together. They both own businesses separate from each other. They took all 4 of their children to school, church school, 4 days a week, and burned everything that had to do with gangs that he brought into the house to include his clothes. But he still chose. As this young man was stating, we have to give our children options. We have to give them choices. Stuff that they may not get at the house, we have to give it to them some other place and give them the direction that they need. But he chose to bang until he was 19 years old. That's a long time. Became a lieutenant shot caller of his own set. He says, no, Sam, because I've told a lot of people to hurt and do things to a lot of people. And my biggest fear is that someday my past will come into my future, my present, and harm me and my children for all the horrible things that I've done and had people do. That's my biggest fear. So, well, I got my work done going down the road. Because I still wasn't convinced yet. He goes, you know, after my first baby girl was born, I kept going back, and I kept going back to church, and I don't know what happened to me, but something came over me. Some people say he was washed with the Holy Spirit. I don't know. But he became a pillar in his church. He started ministering to at-risk youth, getting them away from the lifestyle he's already experienced in his young life, and was ministering to them to try and steer them into a different direction. So now, hearing this story, now I'm convinced. And he changed my mindset on how I thought about gang members. Period. Because I know people can change if given the opportunity to change. Some of them choose a different avenue, they move, they change their lifestyle, whatever it is, and they change for the better. Such as Raul. But you know, the story doesn't just end there. Remember I told you about his biggest fear? A couple of years went by. Lost contact, lost my phone, lost everything to do with Raul. Told my brother, I said, brother, I need Raul, I want to get a generator in my crib. Give me his digits, man, I need to find him. A couple of days later, he comes up to me and goes, brother, Oh, what happened to the cat? Gone. Nobody can find him. He's off the grid. Then I heard through the grapevine that he pulled up. And I'm going to take it back. There was no grapevine because nobody knew anything. I didn't know anybody that knew him. A year and a half ago, it was last year, we had a young lady, a detention officer, who had a wounded hand, a hurt hand. She was come to answer phones because she couldn't do her job in the jail, so they sent her to our office to recuperate while she had her stitches taken care of and did rehab. Spanish lady, Salvadorian descent. Didn't really, she wasn't going to be there long, so I wasn't going to get that close to her. She was answering phones. But as time went on, she got to know us and what we did, what we specialized in with the sheriff's department in that particular unit. So when she found out that I did a lot of gang work, she goes, "Mira, Deputy Serra, I got somebody you need to meet." And I'm still fiddling around the office. She goes, "He used to be a gang member." Okay, he got my attention a little bit now. What's on? She goes, "No, mira, he's a minister now." Well, now you got my full attention. I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, you would like him. His name is Raul." Now, you know, I get goosebumps when I tell this story, and sometimes I choke up, and I tell my wife, because myself, I was like, I don't start choking up. This story gets me every time. Because of the influence he has on me. She says, I said, "Raul, what?" And she told me his last name. I said, "Where's he at?" She goes, "Well, he just got back into town. He sold his business, lock, stock, and barrel for $150K a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and took his whole family to Taiwan." I said, "What do you do in Taiwan?" He goes, "He opened up a ministry, a missionary school." I said, "Wow." He goes, "Yeah, but he's back in town. He opened up his business again, and he owns 3 other ones now. And he has his own church." I said, "Where is he?" She goes, "He's right down the street over here in Greens and 59 at that church." I said, "Right now?" She goes, "Yeah, he's there right now. I just got off the phone with him." I said, "Don't tell him I'm coming." Beeline north, 59, here I come, 10 minutes down the road from my office. And this was like a kid anticipating to see his favorite person in the world. I'm a grown man. But when he walks into the room, or you walk into a room where he's at, your problems are solved. You feel good. You feel warm. And I saw him sitting in the bookstore in that church. And I walked over to him and gave him a hug. And embraced him. And tears flowed from both sides. I said, "Dude, I've been looking for you for 2.5 years, man. What happened?" And he told me his story. And he's traveled with me on certain speaking engagements. And he has a good perspective as to why he went and did the things he did in life. And how he got out and changed his life for the betterment of himself and his family. And see, he doesn't like me telling that young part, that early part of his life that I know about, that he let me have privy to. Because he just don't feel comfortable about it. He wants to be known for the business side of himself, the ministerial part of himself, and having a church, helping people. That's all fine and dandy, but I told him, "Raul, in order for people to know where you're at now and how you got to where you're at, they got to know where you've been." Yeah, that makes sense. He goes, "Okay, I understand. You can tell that part, I won't." So he still travels with me from time to time. I don't do as many of these presentations because of where I'm at now and my assignment, but he gives good reason that people can change. Positive role models, peer pressure, coercion, respect from their peers, through intimidation or otherwise. They're going to get it. They want it. Boredom. Access to all the things right there of drugs, money, weapons, alcohol, and all the bling that goes with it. Money, power, and respect.
And this is your captain speaking with just a little flight information. Coming up on the left, we're going to be catching a glimpse of the Grand Canyon. On the right, you can be able to see the Hooper Dam in just a few minutes. We're flying at an altitude of 37,000 feet, and our airspeed is 400 miles an hour. Couple little facts here. I'm packing a Colt King Cobra. That's a .357 caliber firearm with a black rubber grip and a 6-inch barrel. Also, the co-pilot is carrying a Kimber Custom Defense pistol with all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a custom gun of that kind, with an alloy frame and bevel treatment on the entire gun. And our chief flight attendant, Roger, has a Ruger Bearcat 22 with a hand-fluted cylinder. All three are capable of piercing body armor at a distance of up to 27 feet, and it can put a hole in human bone and flesh the size of the Grand Canyon, which, by the way, is coming up on the left-hand side of the plane, so just sit back and relax and enjoy the rest of the flight.
I try to infuse a little bit of humor to all my presentations. What are some warning signs that you know of, that you've seen, that you've dealt with? What are some warning signs? Withdrawal. What else?
Acting out.
Acting out. Speaking of. Okay. Some warning signs. What about academically?
This is
Grades go truancy, right? Leaving school, not showing up. Stuff like this showing up on their notebooks, doodles, stuff like that. You need to ask questions. And I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, the questions don't get asked. In these schools, it's plain as day, not only for a trained eye, but if you see something, as our sheriff says, say something to them. Ask them on the cool, say something's up, or even get a counselor to call them out. Poor attendance in their grades, uses of a nickname. If your name, my God-given name, is Patrick T. Jones, and I come home and I say, you know, Mom, I want you to call me Little Peter. Little what? That's a clue, folks. That's a clue. Other than the nicknames you give them, you better start asking some questions, because something is wrong. Ink. I can go into any high school. Back in the day, man, if we were in high school and you had a tattoo, you didn't tell nobody. Now I can go to any junior high, and they full done. They waiting to go to jail in the holidays just so they get that E on the back of Houston. Okay? If they're on paper, now you as administration and staff, you can't ask, hey man, you on paper? You on probation? You can't ask that. And no matter what it's for. I made the mistake one day of addressing a high school group. 6 sessions all day long. 60 kids in every one. They thought it was playtime. I said, who in here is on paper? Everybody in the first row raised their hand. And they were proud of it. Oh yeah, man, I was sexual. Whoa, whoa, stop. Can't say, whoa. I don't want to know. I just asked if you were. You see my ankle down there? A lot of them are on paper. And you don't know about it. It could be for sexual assault or assault. Indecency with a child. They still have the right to go to school. Okay? If they have more money than you, okay, and some of them do, drive nicer cars than I do. Where'd we go, Steve? Memorial High School, one of them fancy schools over there, got a lot of money. In the student parking lot. Mercedes. Jaguar. Students. Friends wearing the same colors, not because they want to, they're twins, they're not wackos or anything, they're showing you something. Dealings with us are school officials. Drug or alcohol abuse, photos, graffiti drawings, notebooks hanging on their furniture, on their walls. Backpacks, school, their books, shoelaces, clothing items. They're going to put it somewhere. They want to put it somewhere. And if they're Houston, they want you to see it. They're going to put it in your face and make sure you see it. Okay? Their attendance starts going down. Aliases and nicknames. I met all of these knuckleheads here. Mr. Florida, my partner's stepson, he's now 24, 25. Tattoo, biggest day across his arm. Now, to get to where you're at now in life, and I'm sure some of you had to do it many times over, such as I. In order to get to where you're at now professionally, you have to fill out a what? An application. They want to know everything, right? Where you've been, your scholar, they want to know your degrees, how many stripes you got here, everything. So do gang members. They want to know what you have to offer their organization. Now, this is just a single pager. An OMG, outlaw motorcycle gang, will be this thick. Literally this thick. And they will hand it over to a PI and have them do the investigation to see if you're a snitch or a cop or have ties to something. Okay, they will find you out. This one in particular, it tells us a few things. If you can't see it, it's out of the city of Killeen. What's in Killeen, Texas? Fort Hood. Now our largest, due to the combination of all these several other bases together, now it's the largest in the United States. Okay, training military base. What made you become part of this nation? Curiosity and my uncle. So she had some family influence. Now, being in Killeen, we know it's a military base there. Who is your king? David Barksdale. What do you have to offer this nation? Love, honesty, and the ability to lead. Sounds like some training going on there. Okay. It turned out this was a soldier assigned to Fort Hood. It's not uncommon to have gang members in our military. They've been there for decades. Long time. They just didn't start. And if you get tired of that, the KKK is still up and going. Okay? To the point, ladies and gentlemen, that we post 9/11 turned our thoughts and our attention and some of our finances to international terrorism. Or to terrorism, period, right? Post 9/11. Before that, we were giving money out to everybody. Here. We want to learn about everything. Now we want to know about what's going on here. Because we done got these 2 planes in our backyard. Here's where our money's going. And it gave people, groups like this, room to flourish in our own soil. Because we didn't pay as much attention to them as we used to. Oh, now we are. The attention's back on, trust me. And just as recently as yesterday, this comes up. This is from the traditionalist American Knights. This is a letter to the people in St. Louis. Now, it's not what you're thinking. It says in there, we will not sit by and allow you to harm our families, communities, property, or disrupt our daily lives. Your right to freedom of speech does not give you the right to terrorize citizens. Furthermore, it says, the good people of St. Louis County, of all races, colors, and creeds, all races, colors, and creeds, don't want you here. You see, because if you don't know it, or don't understand the way these protests work, they pay protesters to come in and create havoc. These aren't the people of St. Louis. These are people from the outside that are paid dollars to come in and hold the signs and throw bottles and create a ruckus. They're paid. And the people that live there say, oh, no, we don't want this no more. Y'all are putting us a black eye on the map, and that's not what we're here for. So they're having one of their locals groups stand up and put out this paper, okay, saying, hey, we don't want this no more. We're putting you on warning, okay? Now, whatever profession you're in, whatever district you belong to, you have a structure, you have an organization, a pecking order, if you would. You have to solve it here. If you can't go here, you go here. You can't go here, you go to the top. Right? We have the same thing. They have the same thing. They have structure. Our cartels are even more structured. There's more squares. Of course, they don't last very long in the cartels, and they're always eating their own there. Now, I'm going to go through part of this and just talk about some ink here for half a second. All right. If you remember, if you take any notes in this presentation, you remember that I said letters and numbers and letters. If you write A through Z atop your piece of paper with the corresponding numbers 1 through underneath it, you'll be able to figure out just a little bit about what they're putting out there and break it down. With that big hint given to you and your ink pens ready, what is the 16th letter of the alphabet? What's the 16th letter of the alphabet? Come on, take your shoes off.
You said P. P.
P. Who says P?
P.
You got it, P. What's the 20th letter of the alphabet? T, as in Tom. Everybody agree with that? If y'all need time for number 2, I'll give it to you. What's the second letter? B. B as in boy, right? Okay, we're halfway there. We're halfway there. P, T, B. Where's it out of? A-Tex, Austin, Texas. We're all in agreement. Boy, y'all are quick. I'm going to tell you, some of my police troops aren't that quick. They got their shoes off. Hold on a second. For to be that, for life. PTB, what does it mean? Puro Tango Blast. Does everybody agree with this young man? Puro Tango Blast. In English, always Tango Blast. Okay? For life. He's blasting. He's down with a blast. That's just this particular group. Okay, we're going to talk about them, hopefully I have time, more. You know what, I'm going to do it right now because I know I'm running out of time. Houston's Tango Blast. It's the state's largest prison-based, born in prison in the early 1990s. The reason most gangs are developed for protection against the people who are doing long time in prison. These guys going in and doing short time, 2 to 5 years. We don't need to get in with them, man. Now you're talking about Latino gangs. Those Spanish guys going in there. I don't want to hook up with Texas Syndicate, man. That's 60 years. That's a life. And I get out, I still belong to these cats. I ain't down with that. As you know, we'll go over here and we'll do our own thing. They are now the largest prison-based gang in Texas. Over 17,000 of them locked up. Of one group. They outrank any Crip set, any Blood set, any Texas Syndicate, Texas Mexican Mafia, any of it. They don't even come close. They running stuff. Okay? Houston's. We know them here locally as Houston's. Got the Astro star, the Houston Rockets logo, the Texans logo. 713 into a star, you know, they do it all our area codes, 932 or 832, 915, all of them, they got them all as representation. You go to prison or state jail as a young Latino male in Texas and you claim anything around Houston, Baytown, Conroe, Montgomery County, Fort Bend, Katy, you're going to be Houston. You're going to join for protection from these other knuckleheads. Hence, now we have over 13,000 of them documented on the streets of one gang. Okay, those are large numbers. Those are our biggest threats to law enforcement alone. The only thing is, there's no identifiable leader. There's no one coming up to the podium and say, hey, I'll take it. I'm the one. Because they got a little smart. And they said, you know what? We know that law enforcement, the feds can put a RICO charge, that's a racketeering and organized crime charge on us, and collectively charge us as a group for organized crime and give us day-for-day federal time. We don't want none of that action. We'll just stay kind of unaffiliated, but we're still tight. See, down in El Paso, it's EPT. Down in the valley, it's RGV, Rio Grande Valley. They'll take the whole Rio Grande Valley. They'll take their area codes, Westfield for West Texas, D-Town for Dallas, their area codes, Fort Worth for Corpitos. Okay, it's all over the state. They just chop it up in different areas, just like the area codes and zip codes. Corpus, this little pumpkin head, you see this stuff all the time. People shave into their heads. You know, I do corporate security for HCDE. We open up all their new stores. My thing with them, though, I taught and gave training to human resources because HCDE has a zero tolerance gang policy. They will not hire or keep employed a gang member. Period. Won't happen. So I had to come in and train them on what to recognize, how to look for it. This little pumpkin head was pushing buggies for 2 weeks at this new HCD then at Bunker Hill and I-10 and struggling. 90 pounds soaking wet, and I'm giving him 10. After seeing him, and I was in uniform at the time, I befriend him, got to know him a little bit, say, dude, come over here. They all do. Yes, sir, mister. Dude, let me check out your skull, man. Oh, yeah, you like that, man? Last month I had all the Houston Astros Gold Stars and everything I received in my head. It was real cool. I said, dude, I got you a question. Yes, sir, mister. I said, you down with the blast? He goes, huh? I said, dude, you're not in trouble, man. You blasting? See, that's something we have to ask, or they ask each other, you know, hey, I'm blasting you, blasting me, blasting all this kind of stuff. I gotta go. He's a former employee of HCD. Okay? And yes, I did have something to do with that. D-style, same thing, 1622, that's tattooed, not highlighted in his head, but it is tattooed in the back of his skull. He really wanted you to see it, huh? Some homegrown favorites there. More stuff. And I'm pretty sure he's Latin King, says it on the back of it. Pay attention to moods and feelings, folks. We say that all day long. If you don't pay attention to them now, not only as kids, your own grandkids, your own nieces and nephews, somebody else will, because there's always somebody in the wings, in the shadows saying, come here, check this out. I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to give you family. I'm going to give you protection. You see, I got married 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago, and I raised 3 boys. I know all about knuckleheads. I'm not going to say what I did. I may go to jail for that stuff. I'm back to fight these football players. I don't want none of that action. If they screwed up, they dealt with the consequences. Let me just say that. When I got married, my wife had girls. She has 2 of them. Now they're all grown, thank God. 2 years, I didn't think it was going to happen. But see, girls, ladies, females have moods and feelings that go like this and like this all around. And then, if they cycling, and not bicycling, and throwing a boy into the mix, it just compounds that moods and feelings. So I had to learn how to deal with that. And figure out if it was just hating me, hating cops, hating stepfathers, hating men, hating everything. Understood it, dealt with it, and listened. Communicated with them. Spend more time doing family things. That's hard to do. If you're a single parent, all of this is hard to do. So I implore you, if you can, do so. My kids are grown, 32, 30, or 20, 28, and 26 years old. 6 grandkids, a boy and a girl each. We play cards every Friday night at someone's house. It used to be take Dad's money because I wasn't that good. But I got better. But it was for me, it was to see my kids and my grandkids as often as I could. So I keep the family unit together. Find something in common with them. Their time alone, rules and regulations, discipline. Education, folks. I don't have to harp on that. Y'all are in the field. But you have to get educated. I never stop learning. Activities, civic associations, outreach meetings, and the like. Graffiti. Now these are just a few of them. Some of these may be in your hood, in your school. I don't know. I don't know where you live or where you educate or where you do your work. But these are a few of them. I'm not a huge statistician because the gang numbers change every month. Okay, every month there are different numbers. You're not going to see a lot of that from me. But these are some solid ones that are down. Back in 2009, Hispanic membership was up, followed by African American, white, Asian, Indian, followed behind them. Here's the interesting one. 94% of them were adults. If we're dealing with so many kids involved in gangs, why is our adult percentage so high? What is it?
They've been doing it since they were
Okay, I've been doing it for a while, but there's a legal reason why.
Not showing up on the street.
What'd you say?
17 is the adult age.
They get charged as adults. Yeah, they're getting charged as adults for these crimes. So that, therefore, the adult percentage goes up. Okay, we're going to go through this one because you'll be asking off and sleep. You won't get to sleep tonight if you see this. Okay, delinquent youth gangs hung out together. They're loose, have no members that are identified, as a leader. Traditional turf-based, something I could have maybe been involved in. There were just 15 boys on one stretch of street for a mile long. Heaven forbid anybody, girl's cousin, come to visit for the summer because we were all fighting each other. But loosely structured, we didn't have a name, we didn't have anything, we were just 15 boys. Gang-oriented, make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, every gang is gang-oriented, every one of them. They're going to gain protection, they're going to gain money, access to illegal drugs and or weapons and females, okay, for the male gangs. A little fourth grader stood finally on his knees one day when we got to this part of the presentation, or similar to it. He said, ain't no snakes, I ain't gonna say nothing about nobody in there. I said, okay, why? I said, why are you attracted to this lifestyle? Girls. I said, what? The girls. I said, fourth grade, right? Teachers had to acknowledge, yeah, fourth grade. I said, fourth grade, I was throwing rocks at girls and pine cones and running for hope they didn't catch me and beat all the bejesus out of me. He's doing it for the girls. I said, why? He goes, well, if you have the girls, if you have the money, the girls will come. What are you going to do with it when you get it in the fourth grade? He couldn't answer that part of it. But violent hate groups, as we studied before. Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Circle. White supremacist groups such as KKK. Neo-Nazis, Nazis. Okay? All these are common. Car clubs. I got any gearheads in here beside myself? Anybody here like driving a car fast, legally? Motorcycles, boats, airplanes, anything with steering wheel and a motor. Okay? They are now sponsoring their vehicles in these clubs and their bikes. Funneling, laundering their money through the clubs, washing the money. Okay? Cults, religious beliefs, not illegal. True enthusiasts, the owner, polishing on a thing. I can be seen doing that just about any other day. Washing and rubbing on my Corvette. Wife says, what you going outside for? And you'll see, look out the window. Got to keep it clean and cover it back up. What they're looking out for? The admirers. That's the victims. They want somebody to come and see, ooh, wow, man, that's shiny. What you use on there? Crawl up underneath it. I'm going to crawl up underneath it. I'm going to see what's up. I want to know what's on the bottom. The wife's back there, sitting in a chair, drinking a warm bottle of water in the shade. That's where you're going to find the other half. This is not. This is a legitimate Stoneham car club. Upon a week-long ride, wintertime, about this time of year, I was unshaven, leathered up when I used to ride. My wife was the same way, not unshaven, but leathered up. We went to pick up her business cards from this graphic shop down on 45 on Ritchie Road, just a little north of here. And as I'm walking into the building, see, I had to train her on what I do, so when I just check people out, I'm not just checking them out. You know, like a female's, why are you checking them out? You know, I'm looking for bumps that should not be there on the side, you know, stuff like that for my safety and yours, baby. Well, I saw these, what I call two bedlons, two young Hispanic males, leaning against and very proud of two broke up, cracked up, dent in every quarter panel, riding on donut, spare tire, Chevy Impalas with these $75 stickers on the back of it. Ooh, they were just looking at it all proud and said, baby, going inside out. I need to go talk to these guys. And I never do this stuff out of uniform. But I could not let the situation get away from me. She goes, so let me go. I said, no. I went to do them some cool stickers you got, man. But no disrespect. You don't show these cars, dude. Oh no, we got 300 M's. Y'all know what 300 M's are? That's Chrysler's flagship. That's their biggest boat of a car that they make. $35,000, $45,000 car decked out. That's a lot of car. Well, you top that with Lambo doors, the scissor doors that lifts up, all four. You put a $20,000 candy paint job on it. You put a system in it and roll it all around 24s. And then you might want to bag it out and we'll throw a little extra into it. Okay? Those are all car terms. You mean riding low, slow, fat. To the tune of about $70,000 to $80,000 per car. Additional. Okay? And they have two. And they just rep them with these two cars that they have here. Another eating establishment that I used to go to a lot prior to losing 47 pounds was Sawgrass Steakhouse in their vicinity. This vehicle was always parked in the same part of the parking lot every time I went. All the little homies super glued to the dashboard of his F-150 Ford truck. And where the inspection sticker and registration should go with were his Houston shirt and hat. And across the top of his header on the windshield, it had Houston homies. This dude was for real. This particular subset, this group, this gang wants you to know who they are. It's in your face. It's right here, man. Don't you see? That's who I belong to. That's who I rep for. They want you to know. Female gangs, the number's going up to about 18%, and they're violent. And if I was teaching a law enforcement class, they will hurt us faster than the males will because they have always something to prove. And we always check them first for weapons and drugs because they're going to be holding. Graffiti, that's not going to play for whatever reason, but they don't have to. His name's Shadow. Dummy signed his real name to it. Okay, he changed his tagger name, it's no longer Shadow. But they do it for a lot of reasons. Intimidates, marks territory, challenges other groups, disrespects, uses a response. Displays some strength. Versus tagger, visibility, gives them props amongst other taggers. Okay. Boldness, taunts property owners. Who has taggings in their where they rest their head at night in their neighborhoods, leading to their neighborhoods or where they work, their schools? Okay. Just about everybody's seen this or dealt with it at some point. And do you know is it tagger? Is it gang graffiti? What is it? Can you tell the difference between the taggings? Okay, and I'm going to tell you how. Gang graffiti. There's no artistic effort. Lines, numbers, pitchforks up, pitchforks down, 3-point crown, 4, 5-point crown, 6-point crown are typical. Sur, S-U-R, norteño. This means south and north. Okay, not south and north, Houston or Texas, it's California. Easy to reach places. Crossed out or X's on top of each other. If you see an X, a lot of X out things on top of each other, they're fixing to disrespect each other and go to war. They're communicating with each other, not necessarily with you. The gang members' names are hardly ever there, if at all they're small, but the gang name is going to be present. Okay? Now, remember judging and stereotyping. Remember that lesson, right? With this, I'm going to give you a little bit of information. Just by looking at this, knowing based on what you know already from this particular class or your life lessons, is this gang related or is this a sports enthusiast? Who says sports enthusiast? Raise your hand. Who says gangs? Okay, I'm going to give you something to help make your mind up a little bit. Here's another piece of the story. At my former address, my work address, it was at 9111 East Tex, which is adult probation, juvenile probation, CPS, and the like. Was there every Friday morning, 8 to 10, for 2 years. Was it gangs, or is it a sports enthusiast? Who says sports now? I guess the mind's changing here. Who says gang-related, maybe? The rest of you undecided? She throws her hand up, maybe, I don't know. That's okay, that's okay. It left after 2 years. I'm surprised anybody got their smartphone out yet and Googled this up. Missed that part right there. This was a probationer that was on probation for 2 years, had to come do his little time for community service from 8 to 10 every Friday for 2 years. He is an HFD firefighter and does own a graphics t-shirt shop, web-based. So it was all of the above, not gangs though. But it's easy to be judged by it, right? Because if you know anything about gangs and our local gangs, these Stones, they take all these logos for themselves, right? I already told you that. Straight up black, got Pedro, Nacho, okay, got a 3-point crown, that's the identifier right there. Difference, you got a little bit of color here. Now, tagger graffiti, our students gone bad, who knows? I don't know. But they're very graphic, they're difficult to read, the fonts are big, they're bubbled, they're multicolored, they're letters within letters. You can't make it out. Right? You got to get way back there, which is what I do. I'll take pictures at 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, and then I'll play with it later on the computer and decipher it. Has a bunch of colors. This stuff can get expensive because Krylon shakers and them round cans aren't cheap. Okay, so you're going to pay some money. Found in hard to reach places. How did they do it? Anybody ever seen a tagger do their work? I have. You're going to meet one here in just a second. Tags on top of another. If you start seeing tags on top of another, they're disrespecting each other and fixing to have a tagging war. They're not going to fight. They're going to spray can the whole neighborhood and really mess it up. Cost everybody a lot of money. The tagger name is prominent. Anybody know a good tagger name? What have you gone down the road and what have you seen? What's a good tagger name? Coke, Zeus, Score, Risk. Okay, all these are good local tagger names and nationwide as well because they do travel. This is Rudy. Rudy was 28 years old at the time when I met him. It took me a few months to catch up to him. Obviously, this is in the daytime. This is over off Jensen and Tidwell area. I noticed that he was doing it at the daytime, was very bold about it, but I didn't have time to talk to him. So I talked to the business owner before I talked to him. I said, ma'am, this is an elderly lady. I said, why do you let this guy tag your building? He goes, well, Sonny, first off, he has permission. He has a written, signed affidavit on his possession all the time. Because people like you are always jacking him up. Really? Okay. But why do you let him do it? She goes, young man, if I didn't let him do my building, he would do the whole damn block. That makes a lot of sense. Curtail his activity and put it right here. With the help and enlistment of our students from Sam Houston High School 2 blocks down the road. They kindly move all their vehicles out of the way and let him paint the whole wall, usually on a Sunday when there's nobody there. And then come Monday, he'll paint the wall again. Start cutting into the base coat. And he'll just keep repeating this every 2 or 3 months. And he has permission to do other buildings as well. Anybody fish? Fisher people? Fishermen? Fisherwomen? Okay, God, somebody said, wow. I like to fish too. We have tackle, right? You have stuff you'll never use. You have your favorite stuff, your favorite pole, but you'll take all 4 or 5 of them just in case, right? Right, that's the way we do things. But in his little box down there, in his bag, his black bag, he's got a bunch of tackle boxes with a bunch of different spray nozzles in them. Spray nozzles that give him the distance, shoot it like a wasp, get the paint way up there without having to stretch, get up on a ladder, speckled paint, antique finish, whatever you want. You can get them on the internet, 20 to a pack, okay, all day long. So that's how he does it. AC Delco Parts, or XL Parts, this used to be their main distribution building on the other side of south of the medical facilities downtown, off of 2M and 288. They have the whole block-long building, all 4 sides, permission to do it. And across the street are $350,000 townhomes that nobody is squawking about because this is art to them. I don't take it, it is pretty, it is something to look at, it's a lot of color, I like stuff like that, but I take it for that, because one of these days we're going to pick up, we're going to match Billy Bob Junkback with a letter cartel, or with Zeus, or with Code, or with any of those guys that like to do it illegally somewhere else. A few of their names. Recently we had this set up at one of the high schools in Channelview. a young Hispanic male keeps walking by and keeps checking our stuff out. He's wearing a hoodie. On the back of his hoodie, he has a pitchfork stand with a circle on top of it. And he just keeps pacing like a cat. And I told my partner, I said, Darren, look at the back of his shirt. Look at his hoodie, man. He goes, yeah, man, I'm checking that out. I said, let's get him over here and find out what's up. So, dude, come over here. So he comes over and he's shrugging his shoulders. Yes, sir. Dude, you're not in trouble, man. Chill. Okay. Really, dude? And he says, I said, dude, what's that on the back of your shirt? It's not gang related. It's not gang related. Two of my friends are graffiti. I mean, they're artists. I mean, they like to paint. Really? He goes, yeah, my first one, his name is Geek. I looked at my partner, D. I said, yeah, Geek? He goes, yeah, my other one's Jerk. I said, really? I said, dude, we know all these kids from the hood, man. We know all these neighborhoods. Put your name and number down right here. We got a lot of business, man. You guys, $5 for t-shirts or $10 for hoodies. Right here, put it down. Whoa, did that open up some doors. Because Geek and Jerk are the two most prominent taggers on the I-10 corridor. Anything east of town. And we got the names. Okay, so it was good to get that and put a kink in their gears because now they have to change their names, their tagger names. This one got caught on Hardy Toll Road. First entrance off or exit off of 610 loop going on to Hardy northbound is the first sign you're going to see is Cross Timbers. And Score was his name. Okay, he did $15,000 worth of damage they charged him with, and guess what he got? Probation. Tagging war, unfinished strip center out off Veterans in the Beltway. Owner had to paint and replace the windows twice, 162 of them, and repaint the building before he sold it. The rail cars getting hit in Old Town Spring and the one off the Liberty Road is still Union Pacific. This is Lloyd Yard in Old Town Spring. Worked close with those guys over the years to help identify some taggers, how to keep them getting their brand new cars so they transport inside these cars, rail cars, from getting paint all over them. So hence the plastic sheeting that you see all over these cars now. Examples of the bubble font, letters and numbers. We're not going to see why he's laughing. Crips, the color blue, the number 6. They banged a 6. Okay, they banged to the left. Paco was banging to the right. Used, he says, okay? Any derivative of 6, 2, or 3, usually a 3-point crown. 3 shaves here, 3 shaves here, 6 eyelets laced up in the shoe. Okay, anything that makes a reference to that. Okay, this is what you're going to look for. It's not uncommon to see earrings in boys. Is it a 6-pointed star or a 5-pointed star? No matter what side it's on, how many points are on that star? They have their own history as well. They were called the Baby Avenues prior to becoming the Crips. They had a split in 1971. Tookie Williams came in and led them into the direction that they are headed now. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. They do have their prayer. Now this prayer gets watered down. It's different versions of it. If they travel, bounce around from different set to set to set. Now you got to think about it. There's a bunch of different Crip sets, and they don't all like each other. But you got some guys that might be a blood one day or a MS here, but they move and mommy and daddy take them over here, and there's no sets like that, so now they're a Crip. And they take all the information they learned from those sets, and they bring it into this set, and mesh it in. Okay. A few of the Crip sets that are rolling around out here, rolling 60, Southeast, 2nd Ward, 5-9, Insane Gangsters, 5 deuce. They're not 52nd, not 5-2, 5 deuce. You will be disrespecting them if you refer to them as 5 deuce in front of them. This is called stacking. Everybody, you ever seen stacking? Okay, who's seen stacking? Okay, what it represents. Okay, they're just trying to identify with each other. Now, if you look back on this one, right here, what do we see? They're locking up, but what is it? What are they putting up? 3-point crown. Okay, half a 6. They're Crips. They're going to represent. Okay, they're just identifying each other. Ghetto Crips used to be set out of Greens Point and Hardy Toll Road area, Beltway 8. These are some of the signs that the folk and crypts belong to. Folk nation, there's two nations, folk and people. You're going to belong to one of them. You might not like everybody under that alliance, but you're going to belong to one of them. Okay, your set is going to fall under that. Okay, nationally. Now, six-pointed star, it all means something. Life, love, liberty, or life, love, wisdom, understanding, knowledge. Okay, are a few of the things that it means. These can be found in ink, on students, on gang members, or on jewelry, or they'll like to dabble it. Okay, and this is all in your CD that you have as well. This guy's just going to go on for about 10 minutes. This is what it meant. Now this is what it means now. Do y'all remember seeing this on that application? Remember economics and economical and political gains, all that stuff? That's what they were referring to. And doing the same thing there. This is I think I'm gonna play this one. This is interesting.
Like this, they like to say, they put your pinky to the point of crime, and you like to say, and you break to 5.
Break to 5. Why are they breaking to 5? Disrespecting bloods. Bloods bang to 5 into the red. Okay? They're just, all it is just a sign of disrespect. Some of the wristbands, some of the stuff they wear in schools. Now, let me tell you something about this stuff in schools. The rosaries. We know they can't fly the flags, right? It's just not going to happen. But you know as administrators that you cannot remove a rosary from their person. That is a religious artifact. You cannot do it without catching a check or have a right one. I had a young whippersnapper of a principal in the city of Houston. I was there for 4 days educating his whole staff. And he came to me during one of the breaks and said, Deputy Sir, look what I got. He had a fist full of different colors. I said, where'd you get those from? I took them off all my students to represent gangs. First thing I told him is to seek legal counsel. I was dead serious about it. I said, man, you're fixing to write a check. Your school district is to each and every one of those kids if they get it together. What do you mean? You cannot remove section so-and-so of the state. I read it out to them. You can't do it. It's against the law. What? Yes, sir. Came back to me that afternoon after lunch and said, Deputy Sir, you're right. I know I'm right. I said, do something with that. I don't want nothing to do with it. So he made an announcement in the school that for students who want to choose to wear rosaries, tuck them in. Same for the church on Sunday. Just don't wear them out. Because what they're doing, they know this rule. They know the law. They'll circumvent it by wearing these things, knowing you can't do anything about it. And show affiliation, who they belong to. Because my next question is, who in the room is Catholic? Anybody in here Catholic besides myself? You don't have to be a good Catholic, but a Catholic. Okay? Got 1, 2, 3. When, think about the answer, do you wear a rosary? Never. You don't have to be a good Catholic to know that. It's given to you at a young time in your life, or maybe at an old time in your life, I don't know. But it's given to you and you pray the beads. You hold it in your hand during service, during the wake, whatever. But you never wear it. Or in death, they wrap it around your hands and that's it. It's done. It's over. To wear it is a disrespect to the Catholic Church and the religion. And I explain this to the children. They don't care because it matches their shoes. But it's a way to circumvent, along with the stuff on the wrists. Okay. 5 deuce, more. This is their crypt knowledge. This is stuff that we found. We find in their backpacks, in the trunks of the cars. Their kids bring it to school for show and tell. You know, just various ways of getting this stuff. I have just about every Bible or knowledge that you could get, book of knowledge on every set, digitally formatted. There's a huge collection. This is over 15 years, 17 years of investigating and collecting this stuff. They bring Scooby-Doo to it. Remember, I've said letters and numbers and numbers and letters, right? 837. What does it stand for? What letters? HCDE. What is it? What's that break down to? Who? What? Criminal Hispanic gang, it would be reversed, 873. Is it just difference? Got your 6-pointed stars, your 6 dots, your BK. And they bring his friends into it. Bloods bang to 5 and to the opposite. Okay? They have their own pledge. They formed as a response to the Crips in the 70s. They do have a dance, which goes for a while. They have and refer to each other, the Crips refer to each other as cuz, as a sign of identification. Bloods will assign or try to identify each other and call each other dogs. Okay? They'll often have the dog paw printed or tattooed on them somewhere. Their forearms, the top of their hands, their chest. Okay? A dog paw. Because they'll refer to themselves as such or to each other. And does anybody speak Swahili in here? Damu. You speak Swahili? Just heard that. Very good. Damu is also something that they use to identify with each other. What's up, my Damu? What's up, my dog? Okay, Damu is blood in Swahili. Okay. The 5-pointed crown, 5-pointed star, what it means there. The bunny's facing to the left this time. Their codes, people, nations. Red, blood, black is pride, green is freedom, gold is honor. Okay, if they happen to have a flag, a bandana, they will fight us or you for it. If they drop it, they will take a beating for it. There's punishment. If you see a black bandana with orange folded into it, another color folded into it, all you see is that orange, their rank. They hold rank within their structure and they will fight for that bandana. If they drop it or get it taken from them, they're going to take punishment for it. It's usually a good beating. MOB, money-oriented bloods, member of bloods. The last one that I seen MOB on was a Hispanic male, was about 450 pounds. He was had 3 sets of cuffs behind him, and I was questioning. I said, dude, what's MOB stand for? Obviously, you're trying to hide it. I said, what's going on with it? I said, well, you have blood? No, man, no, man, it's not like that. This money over bitches. Learn something new every day. Okay? I thought he was the ringleader for Houston, the way he talked and had the representation of it. Examples of Damu and some of the codes they'll write in prison. More of the codes. Now, I'm going to go on to, I talked to you about they're shaving their eyebrows sometimes. Some of them say it's just a fad. Okay, I can deal with that. If it's just a fad, it's just a fad. Nothing to do about it. This stuff is all outlaw motorcycle gang stuff. It's 5 hours long. And we're not going to get into it, simply because it's not enough time. But it is interesting stuff. But what we're going to talk about are these guys. Tangos. This will be the last one. I'm going to close with this presentation, or this part of it. Tangos, Texas Against National or Negative Gang Organization. What they say it means. There's 2 different versions of it. The 4 Horsemen, where it originated. Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. Okay, those are the 4 horsemen. They don't recognize supposedly anybody from any other part of the state. The RGV, EPT, WESO, they don't exist, but they're there. Okay. It's all the same thing. It's all Tango. They just call it something different somewhere else in the state of Texas. Okay. I'm going to skip over to history a little bit because I want to get in. They do have certain rules and regulations that obviously this paper was crumpled up before I got a hold of it. And I never have switched it over into regular writing or typing so it can be read. But it's pretty much the same as any other rules. They'll give you soap if you need it in prison. Don't bend over and don't date my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Kind of really silly rules that they go by. They are the fastest, as I said earlier in the presentation, prison-based gang in Texas, and the biggest threat to law enforcement, and the biggest threat to you in education, because there are a bunch of them in your schools. Okay, whether they come from different parts of the state, or whether they go to jail or juvenile hall or wherever over the summer break to get that E or get some involvement, and they're going to come back and spread it. Because they're too large, TDC cannot recognize them as a security threat group because their numbers are too big. They'd have to build 3 or 4 more prisons just for them alone to run. A few where they belong to: West Texas, Hueso, Porfitos, Bayucos, Valley Style. Valley Style, Bayucos, they're all the same, okay? They take, since they don't have any really good baseball teams or football teams to speak of down there, they're going to take the palm trees. The first thing you see when you drive to the valley are palm trees. You get 1 palm tree, you're 50% in. You throw 2 palm trees, you're 100% in. You're throwing up the beat, Valley Style, Bayuco Style. San Antos for San Antonio. Of course, Houston, you got H-Town. In Portland, Oregon, 6 years ago, I met a gentleman from Spring Branch School District. He was an SRO there. We started talking, and he says, "Yeah, I got a gang problem in my school. I got art with blue ribbons on it, all in the foyer of my school, my high school." I said, "Well, let me get back to Texas and we'll look at it when I get back." Certainly did. I drove down. I said, "Man, there's 20-acre tracts and multi-million-dollar homes on top of these in these properties leading up to the school. So the school, there's no way it could be bad." Get into the school, take pictures on the outside. It's an old school. I get inside, and there's blue ribbons and best of awards and best of show all over stuff like this. Spruceton, Houston Astro Star, the logos. I said, "Oh my God, I couldn't get my Polaroid going fast enough." And then the administration came out and said, "What is he doing here? Who are you? What are you doing here?" Gotta go. I didn't want none of that action. He got transferred because he didn't tell him I was coming. But H-Town, Dirty South, Third Coast. We were on the Third Coast. You have East Coast, West Coast, now the Third Coast being our coast. Spruceton, anything to identify with territory, 288, 225, 45, 59, I-10. All those are part of their identification, wherever they're from. Jewelry that they like to wear. Now, I have to say this, and I put this disclaimer in there just because it acts like a duck, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, don't mean it's a duck. Because some people just might want to wear this stuff, to include long shirts and baggy pants. Dongle Blast is some of the stuff they have. The area code, 1622. If you ain't blasting, you ain't lasting. What it means, where they're at. Examples of the RGB. They take the whole outline of the valley. The area codes, 956, Tres Puentes, okay, A Crazy Life. The area code for the RGB at Rio Grande Valley. This was taken inside an elevator at 9111 East Texas. His dad was on probation. He came down here to get out of the gang life, and it's even worse down here, he says, or up here. Austin, Corpus, San Antonio, West Texas, El Paso, another homegrown here in town, outside of 9111 East Texas. This was the guy I was telling you about that we picked up at the rodeo. He got picked up because they said he had a gun. He didn't have a gun. He was disrespecting other gang members with a big old pumpkin head Tango Blast tattooed across his head, disrespecting everybody. MOB, he kind of has it covered up. 713, his guy's repping hard. That's his other wrist. Looks good with a bracelet on it. Houston Astro Star. That's his back. That was the original name, Fireman. Okay? He's the only one to date that would spill out, literally spill out all the information in dialogue concerning Houston's. I thought he was the ringleader for a minute because he knew so much and was the only one ever in 15 years to tell me such information. He has it represented in the aces and the deck of cards all along his back. Okay, Houston Texans logo, Astros, Blast, Laugh Now, Cry Later. Typically of people who have been in trouble will have this tattooed on them. It's funny now, we'll cry about it later. That's his big pumpkin head and his other side. A close-up of him, that's his little belly, his lower back, his breast, his chest. Local street names involved in there, all over the place. He was a good example. Former employee of HEB, 956 RGB. Got the two palm trees, but he's double tagged, so he's got 713. He's doing time here, representing here as well. He has now opened business and has a haircutting / pool table, selling t-shirts in Hedwig Village, because that's what he came here to do. His dad is TS. Back when this photo was taken and the interview was done, the TS, Texas Syndicate, and the youngsters of the Dongo Blast were warned in their state jails and prisons across the state. They were hurting each other bad because over the V and the S snaked through them, because Texas Syndicate felt that it was theirs since they had T and an S snaked through it. And I asked him about what his parents thought about this. He says, well, my dad's TS. I said, really? He goes, yeah, man. He said, I got to do what he does, and I'm going to do what I do. But he's now opened the business and got his license for cosmetology here, giving haircuts. There is reasons for all this: long pants and long t-shirts. There's two of them in there. Chuckle, this is funny. It stinks to go to jail there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for letting me take up a lot more time than was dealt to me.